Ladies and gentlemen, the Season 4 Reloaded update for Warzone is officially here, and needless to say, it's pretty insane. And what I mean by that is they didn't add an insane amount of new stuff, new POIs, or anything crazy like that. However, if you've checked out the patch notes, they are massive, and that is going to be the main focus of this video. Of course, we're going to look at everything new as well, but we're going to break down all of the patch notes. I'm going to try to go over everything important so you guys don't miss out on anything. However, we're not going to go over all of the minute details, the weird little bug fixes or anything like that, just the important stuff. So if you want to check out the full patch notes, link down below, but we're going to break down all of the important things in one video so you guys know exactly what's going on. So while we're talking about Warzone, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Z-League. As you guys know, Z-League has sponsored the channel before, and essentially what they are is a tournament service for Warzone where you can go in free or paid for tournaments to win prizes. And with this, they always offer a great service because it's based off of your skill. So whether you are complete trash at the game or a complete god, it'll match you up against similar skilled players so everyone has a chance to play at that competitive level. But today they also have something special because they have something new, a giant tournament with a $50,000 prize pool called the Showdown. It goes from the 19th of July to the 31st, and in this time, basically you can play as many games as you want, and they take your top 3 games from that time period, and basically the teams with the best scores by the end of that time period win. It's also important to note that it is a trios tournament, and the 3 people that you register with are the ones that your games actually count towards your score. And like I said, it's a huge prize pool of $50,000. And register for this tournament, all you got to do is click the link down in the description, sign up over there. You have to register for the tournament by the 16th, and then between the 19th and 31st you can actually compete. And of course, while you're on there, you can compete in the normal paid or free tournaments that are already hosted on the site. So be sure to check that out down in the description, and thank you Z-League for sponsoring the video. So starting out in game, we have some relatively straightforward playlists. So you have your normal solos, duos, trios, and quads, but we also have BR buyback solos as well. On top of this, you have Rebirth, Resurgence Quad, and Plunder Blood Money. Now, one thing that is new with Season 4 Reloaded is something called Blueprint Blitz, and essentially in Plunder and in Battle Royale, upon completing 2 contracts, a contraband contract will spawn in and will allow you to get some blueprints that were previously available through Easter eggs and things along those lines, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, the other thing that was added is a new weapon. So this weapon is the OTS-9, and as far as this goes, to unlock it, using an SMG, kill 2 or more players rapidly in 15 different matches. Obviously, the easiest way to do this is within Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer, so that's the fastest way to unlock it. And then once you use it, it's actually a pretty decent weapon within Warzone. The other thing you'll see within game right away is the new bundles. So the first one we have is the Inside Job. This one has the new SMG. It's a pretty decent blueprint. It comes with the Grew Suppressor, which is always good, and a 40-round fast mag. So honestly, not the worst version ever. If you want to use this right away in Warzone, this is a pretty good variant that you can use. On top of this, it comes with a charm, a operator finishing move, and finally an emblem and a sticker. The other bundle that we have is called the Tanker. This one is for Bulldozer. It's called the Cannonball. I actually really do like this skin. I think it's pretty good. On top of this, it comes with an assault rifle and an LMG. They're pretty straightforward blueprints, nothing too crazy or exciting with them. After this, charm, watch, a finishing move, emblem, and sticker. So pretty straightforward blueprints. Now, where things start to get crazy is when we actually look at the patch notes. So when it comes to updates, I almost never just read out the patch notes to you guys, but with the amount of updates in these patch notes, I actually figured this was the best way to go through it and get all the important points across. So first off, the new mode Payload is obviously not there. We just looked at the playlist, but it's coming in the next couple of weeks. It's the first objective-based mode. You have to push the convoy from your side of the map to the enemy side of the map. It's going to be interesting. It's the first ever kind of objective-based mode within Warzone. We'll have to wait to see how that plays out. Now, of course, the red doors have been updated. I think there's just more locations, nothing too crazy here. This is really the only map update come Season 4 Reloaded. On top of this, we have a change to the kill chain perk. It now increases your chance to obtain all Warzone kill streaks from loot. It makes it a little bit better. I don't see this as a viable perk still, but it's interesting that they are updating perks, and we'll see a little bit more of that moving on. Now, after this, we have, of course, the gameplay changes. So first of all, they've added the sentry gun, pretty straightforward there. Not a really big fan of the streak being in the game. Curious what you guys think about it. We'll have to wait to see how it fits into the meta. Now, of course, on top of this, we have new Gulag loadouts, so hopefully less akimbo pistols, akimbo magnums, things along those lines. And the specialist token is now a slightly more common in core battle royale. It's a nerfed version of the specialist, but it's still going to be more common, so you're going to see it a little bit more. Now, on top of this, we also have the combat bow kill streak damage has been increased, and it will now down enemies who are directly hit. I think this is good. I think it's a pretty weak streak. However, if you directly hit someone with it, you'd think it would down them, so it will now do that. As far as the dirt bikes goes, there's been a ton of bug fixes with these, but the most important thing is you can now do wheelies. Now, that doesn't seem like a big thing, but because you're so exposed on the dirt bike, if you do a wheelie, it can actually protect yourself. And of course, they're a lot of fun to do. Now, most importantly is this here. Like, this little box right here is actually incredibly important. So we are excited to share that we are planning the debut of 2 new Warzone specific perks. Alongside them, High Alert will also receive an update that allows players to hear dead silence footsteps. So there's your counter to dead silence. And then after that, it says, until then, we may see a weapon make its long-awaited debut in Verdansk with a winky face. Obviously, that is talking about the CX-9, which is pretty cool. I don't know when that's actually going to happen, but apparently it's going to be soon. Now, after this, we have a million bug fixes. This is the part that I'm not going to go through and every little thing, but they have done a lot of different things here for games crashing, different individual weapons, things along those lines. Even with the dirt bike, there's an entire section on just bug fixes for the dirt bike. So I'm not going to go over that too much. But if you want to read it, I will link these down in the description. As far as UI and accessibility, not going to go over this too much, but the one thing I will say is they're adding a new tab for recent squad and recent lobby, which I think is a good update. Pretty interesting, but nothing too crazy there. But now where things do get insane is when we look at weapons. So of course, we talked about the OTS-9 being added. The mace is coming out in season. It's just a new melee weapon. But then we get into the weapon changes, and there is a ton of them. So I'm going to leave some timestamps on the screen. I'm going to go over all of these weapon changes, give my opinions on them, but we're going to go through as quickly as possible. Starting out with the Black Ops Cold War AK-47, there's a lot of nerfs here, as you're going to see. So the headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.5, and the upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1. So just a nerf to the damage overall for this weapon. You're going to see a lot of that in these patch notes. For the AK-47 for Modern Warfare, upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. Nothing too crazy there. C58 got a big nerf. So headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.58. The upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1. Lower torso multiplier from 1.1 to 1. And the maximum damage range increased by 8% and recoil increase. So overall, a big nerf here. Damage and a recoil increase, gonna make it a lot worse. After this, the AMAX. So the AMAX got a headshot multiplier increase from 1.5 to 1.55. Not a big deal there whatsoever. And the upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. So I have to say, overall, that is a nerf for the weapon. That 0.05 increase to the headshot does not make up for the 0.1 decrease to the normal torso multiplier. So not great there for the AMAX. After this, the assault rifle Bravo for Modern Warfare headshot multiplier decreased from 2.05 to 1.62. Big nerf there. And the upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. So again, less damage. The Farah, this is a weapon that I was using a lot. The max damage decreased from 31 to 29, and the recoil increased. This is going to make a difference on the Farah big. Damage and recoil were 2 of the biggest and best qualities on this weapon, and now they're going to be worse. The FFAR from Black Ops Cold War, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.5 to 1.4, max damage decreased from 27 to 25, min damage decreased from 25 to 23, maximum damage range decreased by 20%, and neck multiplier increased by 1.2. So the last thing is a buff, but everything else is a really big nerf. This is a weapon that you're probably going to want to avoid now. It's crazy that this is getting this big of a nerf now when it's been such a predominant weapon for seasons and seasons, but now it's getting nerfed into the ground. Assault rifle Golf from Modern Warfare, upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.2 to 1.1. Nothing great there. The Grau minimum damage increased from 22 to 24. So this is going to make the Grau a little bit better at longer ranges. This is a weapon I think you're going to start to see people use a little bit more in this season, simply because of this and because of how many other weapons actually got nerfed. The Groza, maximum damage decreased from 28 to 27, maximum damage range increased by 4.5%, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.5, upper and lower torsos multipliers were also decreased, and the recoil pattern was smooth. So less recoil, a little bit more damage, less headshot, and chest multiplier. So overall, it's kind of remains in this middle spot. It's going to depend on how much that recoil pattern was actually smooth, whether or not this got better or worse. After this, the Krig 6, the minimum damage increased from 25 to 26. So I don't think the Krig is a bad weapon whatsoever. I think it's actually pretty decent. With it, it's going to get a little bit better at longer range. After this, the M13 from Modern Warfare, we have the minimum damage increased from 19 to 20. Again, this is helping us out at long range, but I still don't think this is going to be one of the best weapons in the game. Assault Rifle Charlie from Modern Warfare, maximum damage decreased from 28 to 27, and minimum damage increased from 22 to 23. So if you can't tell what they're doing here, they're trying to make these weapons better at longer range and worse at short range. In other words, they want us to use more SMGs and less assault rifles at that short range area. After this, we have the Odin. Upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.3 to 1.2. Pretty straightforward. The QBZ, minimum damage increased from 22 to 24, base move speed reduced by 3%, base ADS move speed reduced by 5%, upper torso multiplier increased from 1.1 to 1.2, and lower torso multiplier increased to 1.1. Honestly, this is probably the biggest buff out of any of the weapons that we'll see today. So might be worth trying out, but I don't think it's going to be like the force to be reckoned with like a lot of people will think. Ram 7, maximum damage decreased from 28 to 26. XM4, minimum damage decreased from 32 to 30. Minimum damage decreased from 28 to 27. ADS speeds decreased slightly and recoil increased slightly. XM4, really big nerf. I think it's because a lot of people were using it as an SMG. That's not going to be the case anymore. This is going to do quite the number. With that recoil increase and the ADS speed decreased as well, this is going to be stuck at like this mid-range assault rifle thing now and just won't be what it was before. Moving on to the light machine guns, we have the M60, maximum damage increase from 36 to 37, and headshot multiplier increased to 1.6, so a buff there. The MG34, max damage decreased from 31 to 29, min damage decreased from 28 to 27, headshot multiplier decreased, and upper torso multiplier decreased as well. So a big nerf to that there. After this, the MG82, ADS speed decreased slightly, nothing crazy there, but again, a nerf. Light machine gun Alpha from Modern Warfare, max damage increased from 31 to 32, maximum damage range decreased by 7%, and upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.1 to 1. So overall, a little bit of a nerf there, but the max damage is increased a little bit. The SA87 had an upper torso multiplier decrease from 1.2 to 1.1, so nerf there. And the light machine gun Alpha from Black Ops Cold War, max damage decreased from 34 to 33, upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.1 to 1. So overall, a lot of nerfs in there. The only one that really got the buff or the big enough buff is the M60. Sniper rifles. So the Swiss K31, the ADS animation has been updated and oddly now shares a base reticle with the ZRG 20mm. So the next biggest section is with SMGs. So the AK-74U max damage decreased from 35 to 31, min damage decreased from 25 to 26, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.6, upper torso multiplier increased from 1 to 1.1, and bullet velocity increased by 5%. Overall, this is a nerf to the weapon. That max damage decrease is a big deal. To me, this was already not a competitive weapon. This makes it even less competitive. The SMG Alpha from Modern Warfare, the minimum damage increased from 25 to 26, and the headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.47. Pretty straightforward there. After this, the Bullfrog. So the max damage decreased from 32 to 31, headshot multiplier decreased to 1.62 to 1.5. Left upper arm multiplier increased from 0.9 to 0.1. Same with the right and as well with the legs. I don't know why they wrote it out like this. I don't know why they just didn't say like all appendages decreased. I don't know. Seems like a very difficult way to write that. Anyway, KSP45, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.57. You're going to see that a lot. The LC10, maximum damage decreased from 30 to 27, minimum damage decreased from 25 to 24, and headshot multiplier once again decreased as well. So again, another nerf. The MAC-10, the max damage is decreased from 24 to 23, and the min damage decreased from 20 to 19. So basically, this is going to add one extra bullet to kill at some of these ranges, and that's what they're doing. Now, I don't know if this is going to make as big of a difference and if the MAC-10 is going to be out of meta, because as you're going to see, a lot of the weapons got nerfed. So if everything gets nerfed, we're just kind of in the same position that we were before, if that makes sense. After this, the Milano recoil increased slightly, max damage range decreased by 12%, headshot multiplier decreased by quite a substantial margin, the upper torso multiplier decreased, and the lower torso as well. So basically just trying to make this a lot worse because it was almost like an assault rifle before. That is what's going on with the damage range decrease and the recoil being updated as well. Submachine gun Alpha from Black Ops Cold War, max damage decreased from 33 to 31, min damage decreased from 25 to 24. Again, similar with what we were already seeing. The nail gun, the maximum damage decreased from 50 to 46, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.62 to 1.45, and the upper torso multiplier decreased from 1.28 to 1. So a pretty big nerf there to just all of the damage on the nail gun. Submachine gun Echo from Modern Warfare, maximum damage decreased from 35 to 34, minimum damage increased from 25 to 26. After this, the PPSH, we have maximum damage decreased from 28 to 26. The ISO gets one of the only buffs to SMGs, minimum damage increased from 20 to 21. Submachine gun Delta from Modern Warfare also has a buff, minimum damage increase from 25 to 26. Again, nothing too big. And then with the Fennec, maximum damage decrease from 25 to 24 and minimum damage decrease from 20 to 19. So overall, with most of the SMGs, as you can see, they're trying to make the time to kill a little bit slower. Why, I'm not 100% sure, but as you can clearly tell, that's what they're trying to do. All right, so tactical rifles. So tactical rifle Charlie from Black Ops Cold War, headshot multiplier decreased from 1.8 to 1.7. The Carve 2 headshot multiplier decreased from 1.7 to 1.6, and the M16, the headshot multiplier decreased from 1.8 to 1.6. So pretty straightforward on all the tac rifles, less headshot damage. But looking at all of these weapons, the basic thing that I can see is with the assault rifles, with the SMGs, they're very clearly trying to make a slower time to kill. With this, it shouldn't change up the meta too much because, like I said, if you change one or two things, it changes up the meta. If you change nearly every weapon, it just changes the overall time to kill, which it appears to me is what they were more so trying to do. Now, I'm going to have to do more testing and try out some weapons, and then I'll bring you guys some loadouts for this. But a lot of changes that I don't think will make an overabundance of change to the meta. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see. So ladies and gentlemen, that is the mid-season or the Season 4 Reloaded update. Again, nothing crazy changing with the map or anything like that. The main thing is just a ton of bug fixes and weapon changes. If you want to check out the patch notes, they'll be linked down below. But as far as it goes, I think we covered pretty much everything that's of big importance. CX9 should be coming out soon. When that does, we'll be covering that. But till then, this is a Season 4 Reloaded update. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all my videos. And until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.